What is up guys, it is Simba here and welcome back to the channel for another league racing video, and today it's round number 5 for the Portuguese Grand Prix, the first sprint weekend of the season, and you can see the standings in the championship. We are in the top 10 just ahead of SLR Jam, and in the constructors we're just behind Alfa Romeo and Mercedes after the first 4 rounds. So here we go, first sprint weekend of the season. If you go on to enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for more content, check out the last video on screen if you haven't seen it already, and we're going to jump straight in to qualifying here in Portugal. We're currently 18th, so we need a lap on the board, and there's just over 8 minutes to go. So, turn number 1. Horrendous. We completely go wide, we missed the apex, and turn 3 isn't much better. You can see I was a little bit hesitant as we turn in a little bit too early as we move up the hill towards the first sector split. And it's not a good first sector. It's a 22.3, which is absolutely horrendous. You want to be in the low 22s, like a 0.0 would be a decent first sector around this track. And so we're like half a second off pace already in sector 1. Up the hill towards turn 8, very easy to lose the rear end, and we don't really do too badly there. So that's actually a decent highlight of the lap. Now up towards this downhill right-hander, 5th gear. Nail the apex, try and get the traction as down as soon as possible, and it is a 52.2 in the middle sector, and it's not been too bad, but there's time in this lap as we come around the final corner.
What is this traffic?
You can hear me not being too happy about the traffic as TMS Saw moves out of the way just in time as we get the power down from turn 14 round down the hill towards the line now. DRS wide open across the line, and it's a 17.5.
Absolutely horrendous.
And you can hear my reaction. I am not happy at all with that lap. It was only good enough for P13, and now we've got 1 minute left, and we've got a bit of a traffic jam here. So, 50 seconds on the clock. Final run of the session. We need this lap. We can go quite a way quicker than a 17.5, and this is our time to prove it as we turn on hot lap on the MFD. DRS wide open, and this is our last chance to salvage qualifying here in Portimao. Turn number 1. We actually nail it. Look at the time gained from that corner alone. Now down towards turn 3, 4th gear, clip the apex, and you want to open up this corner here. Turn 4, up the hill, easy to spin, but we actually keep it on the track very nicely, and there is that 22.0 that I was talking about earlier. Down towards turn 5, 4th gear, nice traction on the exit as we go up towards turn 7 and 8. Shift down to 6th gear, up the hill, down to 4th. We go a little bit wider than we did last time as Corey isn't too happy with his lap. I'll get to him in a minute, but we're still pushing on. We're a 10.5 up, which isn't great, but it's still better than being down on the delta. Once again, getting the power nailed down. We're 2/10 up on this lap, a 10th up on Merckx as well. We go wide through turn 13, which is quite frustrating, and now we're just simply overdriving. We just chuck it in to this corner. Look at the lack of throttle on the exit of that last corner. It's completely cost us time. We've lost our entire delta, and this is going to be a small improvement.
I wanted to get a second run, but fucking validated.
Terrible.
And terrible is a very nice way to put it, and that is P16. It's just not good enough. It really isn't. Qualifying, we're just struggling with confidence. You can see our teammate up in P7, so we've got a sprint race, so this is just going to be damage limitation for 11 laps.
I will try not to, mate. I'm really sorry if I break early, but
You can hear Corey saying, warning people about brake testing. He's turned off the racing line and he is qualified down the order, but we're 16th. So here we go, 11 laps of the sprint race here in Portugal. Can we turn this around? We're going to find out as the lights go out, and we are underway for the sprint race here in Portugal. It's a very good start for us. We get past Merckx in the AlphaTauri. We're going to see if we can challenge anyone in the turn 1. We can't because of the racing line that we're on, but Charlie makes a huge mistake. We're side by side with the debuting Red Bull driver, but he absolutely sends it, and he's round. So, not a bad start at all. We've managed to gain 2 places off the first sector. Charlie tried to defend against us and ended up just spinning into Ham. There's a bit of carnage going on in front of us, but we're not close enough to take advantage. But not a bad start at all. P14, we're right behind SLR Jam. We're going to see if we can challenge him.
Oh, Mizzy's AI has been swallowed.
Now, this is a crucial call from Corey because Midzi is an AI car. And he actually was sick just before this race, so he can't race. And he was one of the quicker guys on the grid. And also, Elite Risks isn't racing either, and he was really quick as well. So, a few drivers missing, and we're going to see if we can take that to our advantage as we move on to lap 3. DRS has been enabled, and there's a bunch of carnage in front of us.
Oh my god.
What is going on with Paraquix? We've lost touch with the top 8, that's great.
And you can see some of the action kicking off in this sprint race. You can hear me say that we've lost touch with the top 8, which is a problem, which means none of us are getting points, even if we fight each other to the death, because the top 8 only score points in the sprint. Paraquix has been causing problems for Race Roller and Corey, and now he's side by side with Jam, and they make a bit of contact through turn 13, and now we're going to try and take advantage up the inside of the Haas. We're going to try and be a little bit more aggressive since we are way down the order, and we've got him. You can hear the engineer saying great pass, but we haven't completed it yet, but there we go. We stay ahead of the Haas driver. He's still side by side with us, so we haven't fully completed this move. He's definitely going to come back after us as we're right behind SLR Jam going into turn 1. We sit behind the Mercedes, but this means Paraquix is going to come back at us going into turn 3.
What's he doing? What is he doing?
Good job.
What's an idiot?
Yep.
And my reaction speaks for itself. I don't know what he was doing, but that means now we're under pressure from Mercs.
Oh, no, just saying it.
Oh, it's kicked off.
Well, we managed to stay ahead of the AlphaTauri, and you can hear Darren say, it's kicking off. That's a big understatement, mate, as we get a warning for track limits. But lap 5, we've managed to settle ourselves down, and we're going right after SLR Corey.
Oh fuck, locks up. Hi Simba.
So, Corey's had a massive lockup, and look at the drive we get out of that last corner towards the line. We're so close to the Ferrari. What a run this has been. We're going to easily pass him down the main straight.
I said Simba, I'm going to back out. You just go, I think. I'm not going to fight that.
And you can hear Corey being quite smart about that. He lets us go, knowing that 2 do not go into 1 at turn number 1. And we are up into the top 10 in this sprint race.
Yes, Corey.
And you can hear me saying my thanks to Corey, as you know, he could have insisted and fought me there, but he decided not to. And now we're right behind Race Roller, and we're going to see if we can pass him as well. We're feeling quite a bit of momentum after the last few laps, and unfortunately, we don't really get the chance to pass him, really. I don't think. Nothing much happens in this one as we skip to the last lap. Turner has won the sprint race, which means he will start on pole position, and we're going to settle for P10 on the grid.
Not quite. We'll take that, but not quite. So, at least we're in the top 10 for the race.
So not a bad sprint race whatsoever. P16 to P10 on a track you can't overtake is pretty damn decent. So unfortunately we didn't get any points for it, but there's a 33 lap race ahead of us, so let's see what we can do from there. So, here we go. Time for the main event of the weekend. It is time for the Portuguese Grand Prix to go ahead. Starting on the hard tyres, going on to the medium tyres is the very popular strategy. There's a few medium runners ahead of us, but right now we just need to prioritise the race start. We've got a good start in the sprint. Let's see what we can do in the 33 lap race as we rev up to 500 lights for the Portuguese Grand Prix. And we are underway in Portimao, and it's a very good first phase, but the second phase lets us down a bit. We get a little bit of wheel spin off the line, and we move to the outside line, going into turn 1.
Oh my god, what the fuck? What are you doing, you clown?
You go for some butt. You got more to me.
Yeah, we almost made contact at turn 1.
Yeah, nah.
So, race underway. Corey has been taken out by Riggsy, and
You're
Meadow has let us
disgusting.
through. Now, you saw Meadow's qualifying. He qualified 7th. So I found it a bit bizarre that he let us through, but he thinks we've got more pace than him. So I'm not complaining. That's another position. So we've managed to gain a position, and we're right behind Race Roller, like we were in the sprint race.
I'm over driving to keep up with the car. Trouble.
Caution, caution.
Oh, crowding round.
Oh,
Green flag.
yeah, but thank you very much for your position.
So lap 5, one of the quicker guys on this grid, Crowding, has gone for a spin on the medium tyres. So we are up into 8th place, and we've got a warning for track limits as well. So we've got to be careful, we've got to be mindful about that, as Quattro, in his first race back, retires from the race. And yeah, not too bad, but you heard me say I'm over driving to keep up with Roller.
Oh, Sora's off.
Oh, hello.
But it seems that people are spinning around us as TMS Sora goes for a spin, and we're up into P7 now. So very, very good stuff at the minute in this Portuguese Grand Prix on lap number 6. We've gained 3 places on the opening laps, so pretty strong start to this race. But now the inevitable happens. Here comes Crowding.
He's going to beg this so much as well. Unbelievable.
And what I mean by that is he's just going to drain all of his ERS in order to get past us, and we're not going to fight him. There is absolutely no point trying to fight someone who is quicker than us, and we'll just lose touch with the train as well. So yeah, we willingly get demoted to P8 knowing that there's a long race ahead of us, and we've got that warning. I actually completely ignored this warning during the race. So yeah, Sora retires in the pits, lap number 8 now. And the pace is slowly starting to come together. You can see we've put in 2 green sectors, which means we're doing our personal best on this lap, and that is a 20.8. And by lap 14, Kiwi is in the pits from his medium tyres, and we set at 20.6. So the pace is starting to come together, but going into turn 1,
So anyway.
we get our second warning of the race. Now,
Yeah, good.
you guys have just seen that I've got 2 warnings in this race. I didn't know. I completely forgot about the warnings, and I didn't know how many warnings I was on. So, not only that we're on a tightrope, we are on an unknown tightrope. So I don't know how many warnings we've got. So we're just going to try and keep this thing on the track to the end of the race, which is easier said than done. Meanwhile, we're looking behind us instead of forwards. We're trying to defend from SLR Jam, but again, 2 don't go into 1 at turn 1, and we just let him go, knowing that there's a long race ahead of us on lap 16. So Jam is in front of us now. He's up into P5 as some medium runners have pitted, including Griffiths and Crowding.
Oh
But
my God,
we're going to be thinking of an undercut. I was thinking at this point, the only way to get ahead of these guys is an undercut. So we're going to cut to the next lap. On lap 17, the lap we're going to pit. But you can see the gap has increased to just over a second. And that's because we made a mistake on this very lap, which could be very costly indeed. So we come round the final corner, and we're going to box for the mediums.
We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Does anyone know what Toby's battery is? 45.
As Corey asks about Griffith's battery, as we're going to box for the medium compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix, trying an undercut attempt on SLR Jam and SLR Ham in front of us. Roller has also pitted, which means we're still going to be behind him, unfortunately. But we're going to try and do the all up of our lives in order to get ahead, because that's what we need at this stage of the race. So we cut to lap 19. We're draining the battery, as you can see, but me and Roller have just realised that we have been overcut.
Wait, we just been
That
overcut.
would be really funny.
What? Fuck's sake. How? There's jams in front.
So you can hear Darren asking for a safety car, which would be pretty bad timing for us, as we've just made a pit stop as Jam and Roller are side by side. Going into turn 5, Jam's got cold tyres and Roller looks to pounce on this, going through up towards turn 7. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. towards 7 and 8
He did.
with a very scruffy move. Race Roller gets ahead of the Mercedes, and we're looking to do that as well, as we've managed to close up on the two of them, and we're going to see if we can pass them, but unfortunately Jam gets a move on and he starts pushing, and he's well ahead of us. He's back ahead of Roller, and meanwhile Kiwi has a spin.
Close one. Jesus. We've lost touch with Ham, but there you go. It's P8.
So we get away with that, we gain another position. We've lost touch with Ham and Jam, unfortunately, but we're still behind Race Roller. So he's got no DRS, but we don't have much ERS to work with. So we're going to see if we can try and save some battery on this lap as we move on to lap 27. We are thinking of passing him, and we've been behind him for literally the entire race. So we want to try and pass him, but you can see there, lap 29, we've drained the battery whilst using DRS, because we wanted to try and challenge him at turn 1. This is the part of the race where I decided my patience has been wearing me thin, and it's kind of run out, so we're going to see if we can push him into an error as we go up the hill towards turn 5. Again, we're just using as much battery as possible, but to absolutely no avail. Our straight line speed seems quite weak, but Roller makes a weird move there through turn 5, so a bit of a rehearsal for a future attempt, and we're going to see if we can try and pull that off on lap 31. But again, you can see we're draining the battery before we open DRS, which is just costing us, because DRS is so powerful around this track, since it's so hard to overtake. As we move on to the penultimate lap, again, we don't have much to challenge him. He goes wide through turn 3, but we're not making any inroads on him, and that's because we've got a gap to crowding, because he's got 9 seconds of penalties, so we could both benefit if we stay within his penalty range. He's about 8-9 seconds up the road at this point, but right now it's touch and go, because crowding's really quick. But again, we don't make much happen as we're going to try and push on the last lap now. We're still behind Roller, but what's the gap to crowding?
What's the gap between us and crowding?
You can hear me asking SLR Marsh about the gap towards us and crowding, because he's engineering most of us. As we go up to turn 8, we're still behind Roller, but we're going to make a little bit of an error.
Marsh, I need an update, mate. What's the gap?
You can hear me ask again, but he's just told us now that the gap is over 9 seconds. It's actually 10 seconds at this point in time. So instead of, you know, sitting behind Roller hoping he can keep that range to crowding, we should have just gone for it. As meanwhile, Griffiths has won the race.
Unlucky.
And Turner misses out on another win. He finishes second, but unfortunately for us,
Couldn't do a damn thing about that. Fuck it, man.
we're not going to get crowding or Roller. So today, it is going to be P8.
Damn it. That was a very long race, but we got points.
So there you go. The end of a very, very long sprint weekend here in Portugal comes to a close, with us finishing P8 on the day. And you can hear by my voice, I was quite a bit disappointed, because I really felt like we could have got P6 if we just passed Roller a lot earlier, and you know, maybe we would have given ourselves half a chance to get crowding, so it would have been P7 maybe instead of P8. But yeah, not too bad of a race, to be honest. Medal got 1 point in the sprint, we get 4 points in the main thing, so as a team we score 5 points. But you can see Jam finishing 3rd on penalties, and we let him through a while ago. Ham finished 5th as well, so it's a tad frustrating. We could have done a little bit more in this race. I definitely feel like we should have finished P7. We were quicker than Roller, but it doesn't matter because this track is so hard to overtake, and we end up being the 9th highest scorer. So there you go. Sorry this race wasn't a classic. It was hardly a classic, so thanks to everyone that tuned in the stream. And we go again in Spain, which is going to be the next race, and hopefully we're going to do better in qualifying, because that's what really cost us here today. So that is going to be the end of today's video. Subscribe to the channel for more league racing content if you haven't already. There'll be a career mode video coming soon as well, so stay tuned for that. So until then, take care. I'll see you guys in the next one.